Let's start with Simon's hometown team, those Philadelphia 76ers, with their oh so delightful fans that have been in my mentions for the past 4 months about the MVP race, taking on the Toronto Raptors. This is, in my opinion, this is the trendy upset pick. This is the one that I think is going to be the public dog that everyone's like, you know who I really like? Hot take here. I like the Raptors, which is making me real nervous. We'll get to my best bet on it. But look, Joel Embiid probably going to finish second or third in MVP voting. Phenomenal season. He's going to draw a lot of fouls in this matchup. It should be an opportunity for him to step into the spotlight as a preeminent big man in the NBA versus a team that's rolling out Kem Birch and Precious Achua and Chris Boucher at center. So this is a pretty good matchup for them in terms of that, but the Raptors have really given him trouble. My bigger question, though, Jason, is here. Look, James Harden has a pretty spotty playoff history. It goes back several years. He started off really great with the Sixers, and then there's kind of been a tailspin. Do you think that Harden can finally have the postseason that everyone's been waiting on, and he can help Embiid carry this team to a title or at least pass the Raptors in a 4-5 matchup?
I think that ship has sailed, man. There's some really concerning stuff with James Harden, even beyond the postseason now, stretching into what we've seen of late, like you referenced. In his 2 matchups with the Raptors this season, he's 8 for 24 from the field, 1 for 8 from 3. And he has 23 assists to go with 9 turnovers. And the biggest issue is he doesn't have the burst to beat people off the dribble as well as he used to. And people don't understand how important that is to everything in his game, because when he has defenders on their heels, that opens up his step back, which allows him to get separation. So that's a quality shot. But when he's not beating people off the dribble, defenders are up on their toes. They're crowding him. Now he's not getting a ton of separation on that step back. Now he's trying to draw fouls instead of get quality shots. Not to mention the way him getting into the paint opens up his playmaking game. So and then we get into the postseason, and now you're talking about the way that limits his ability to foul grift and the amount of physicality that is allowed in that setting, the way fatigue plays a role. And then the other thing with James Harden, he's a very repetitive basketball player. He doesn't have a ton of variety to the way he attacks you, which makes him directly susceptible to late series struggles, because defensive players start to pick up on his cues, the little things that he does to hint at one move or one read or things along those lines. In a postseason series, variety is what wins. This is what has made guys like LeBron so dominant over the years, is the many different ways that he can come at you. So I'm worried about that. And then, quite frankly, the Raptors are a really, really good help team. They overcrowd on ball handlers, and they do a lot of stunting and doubling and crowding one side of the floor. And the Sixers do not generate a ton of 3-point shots, which is something that seriously concerns me. And then last but not least, Joel Embiid, 3 matchups with the Raptors this year, only 8 assists with 8 turnovers in 3 games. He's not great at handling double teams. He straight up told that to JJ Redick the other day on his pod, talking about how the Raptors were the best defense to guard him this year with their ability to crowd him and make things uncomfortable. I will be picking the Raptors in this series in 6 games. Unfortunately, it is the trendy pick, but it is based on what I've seen in the basketball. I just think this is a terrible matchup for Philly in the worst possible draw they could have got for that first round.
Yeah, the Raptors are going to switch a lot. This is part of the problem. Harden likes to pick on whoever the weak spot is. He wants to force you to switch, and then he wants to go one-on-one and pick on you. This is a hard one for him to do, because the Raptors are just like, we have like 9 dudes that are all 6'8", and they're all athletic, and then we have Fred VanVleet, who's a pain. Who do you want? Like, pick your poison. Deal with whatever you want. Simon, before we get to best bets, I kind of think Tyrese Maxey is actually going to have a bigger impact in the series than Harden. If they were to flame out, what's the Philly reaction going to be for Harden?
I mean, we're all just hoping he doesn't get paid. To me, I think most Philly fans like me are just looking at it as a positive. It's like, yeah, Harden's not what he was, but is he better than what Ben Simmons was giving us? Yes, Ben Simmons was a 0. So I look at the stat that it's been Harden's more of taking a step back and looked at Maxey saying, I'm not the number 2 guy. You are. You need to play like that. I'm the old man over here. And I know that Philly fans don't want to hear that, but that's just the way I've looked at Harden taking a step back. And I know we're not going to talk about MVP race, but you said they're in your DMs about it. I think it's just because as Sixers fans, we're like, Embiid's being shit on by everyone in the media because he gets free throws. That's like shitting on Barry Bonds because Barry Bonds would get walked a lot. Is it really his fault that he's one of the most efficient players in basketball, that your big man's fouling out because he's getting to the free throw line. So I know that's a different discussion, but I look at this Sixers team that I most years would say they're going to flame out in the first round. But because of the Embiid MVP stuff, I think he's going to be on a next level. I think this Maxey has really been coming into form these last couple of weeks. So I see why people picking Toronto as a sleeper dog, but I really do think that's going to benefit the Sixers. The Sixers are just going to be slept on like they have been all year. So I actually like them in this matchup, but I think it's good value at what is it? I don't know what the line opened at, but I remember seeing that it started to move a little bit. Like you said, the public money was coming on Toronto. Now it's coming back. I guess professionals are on the Sixers. So I'm interested to hear what your best bet is here, Matt.
Yeah. So, by the way, on the grifting thing, you're absolutely right. I did a big breakdown on Action Network. You can find it that goes into the details. He absolutely gets fouled. Like, I went through and was like, he sells the hell out of it, but he absolutely just gets fouled constantly. If you do the deep dive, you'll be like, God, he sells it so bad, but that it was a foul. Yeah, let's talk best bets. My best bet here, I love win spreads. This to me is the best market on these series prices. Sixers -1.5 is +124. So I'm getting the team with home court, the team with the best player in the matchup, and I'm getting them at a plus number to basically win 4-2 or better. Here's a big key. The Raptors have the 25th best half-court offense. 25th. They don't have shooters. Like, that's not me saying that. William Liu, who does a great job covering the Raptors, talks about this all the time. They don't have shooters. And the Sixers don't generate a lot of threes is part of Jason's argument. And he's right there. But part of the key is they've gotten a lot better over the last, since All-Star, since they added Harden. Maxey was shooting like plus 45% from three. And Tobias Harris, who started the season absolutely sucking, and all of Philly hated him, 37% from three since All-Star. He's turned it up a lot. I think Maxey's going to take advantage of the other side of this matchup because he's got a little bit of size on those other guards in terms of his quickness for the Raptors. I just think the Sixers have too much offense. I'm actually taking Sixers -1.5 plus 124 at FanDuel. Jason, you like the Raptors just to win the series outright plus 150?
Yeah, and I like your bet because I wouldn't be shocked if Philly won. They certainly are the more talented team. The one wrinkle, because I've been worried about Toronto's offense as well. The one wrinkle is, so the lineup of Fred VanVleet with Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, and Scotty Barnes has played fewer than 400 minutes this year. That's their best lineup, in my opinion, in terms of a combination of offensive firepower and defensive versatility. And that group just hasn't been on the floor a lot this year. And I think OG Anunoby did come back on Sunday. So they will both be available in the series, him and Fred VanVleet, who's been dealing with some knee stuff. So I'm 100% with you. I do think Toronto will have a better offensive punch than they've shown through much of the season. The way I look at it, this series is pretty much a coin flip on my end. I'm just picking Toronto to win because I think that what's going to end up happening is it's going to come down to James Harden's ability to create offense from the perimeter, and I just don't think he's going to be able to create enough of it.
Simon, what do you like in this one?
Yeah, honestly, if I'm just going off pure value, I think the best value is honestly on Toronto -1.5, just because Sixers always choke. As a fan, I know this, and Doc Rivers historically has choked other than that 1 year with Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen. So Sixers don't have 3 Hall of Famers on their team right now. So I'm leaning towards the Sixers losing, but obviously as a homer here, I've already bet Sixers -1.5. But best value, Toronto -1.5.